Finally, I'm back again. You talked about Course Careers Technology Sales Course and what it did to change my life. Wait, there's more. Not only is it technology sales information technology courses as well, now there's human resources, customer success, UI UX, and did I even mention that there also is software development as well, front end, back end, and DevOps? Listen, this is something that you definitely want to take advantage of. So go ahead, click that link. Don't forget there's a discount from me if you click that link, and I hope to see you on the other side. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another edition of Techniche Tips. I am your host, Joseph M. Smith, and like always, we have another one for you. But I want to, before I even get started there, go ahead and look at that ticker below. If you have not already, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I have a guest with us that's going to be able to share their story, and it's going to be a great time because we're not only talking about how to get a job, but we're talking about how to build a career, because that's something that I believe we all need to learn more about and being more focused on as we move forward in our lives. But before we do that, let's get to the comment section. I do have Operation Tech Takeover in the building. Peace and blessings. I do have Daniel as well. Thank you so much, Operation Tech Takeover. Daniel as well. Good morning, all. And you see, I didn't have to talk about it too much because they have it already going on here. Don't forget to comment, like, and share. If you are on LinkedIn, don't forget to come over to the YouTube for the Q&A portion of the show. Thank you so much, Operation Tech Takeover, and that's exactly what we're going to do. About 30 minutes into this conversation, we're going to exclusively go over to youtube.com/@Techniche Tips, where not just myself, but you are able to ask our guests today questions that you may be having, burning questions, whatever it may be. Like, even if it's something about his own journey that you want to find out more, that's the time to do it. So you definitely want to do that. Good morning, Mitch. So glad to have you on the show with us. Thank you so much, y'all, for always coming through. Always. We thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And Tom, how are you feeling today?
I'm good. It's today's a good day to have a great day. So just got back from travel. I've got some travel again tomorrow morning. So after this, we'll start packing. And we were talking before the show and getting the house kind of straightened up. I mean, my house is in good order, but straighten up a little bit more so I can come back to the way I left it. So it's a great morning, and I'm really, really grateful to be here with you, Joseph. I know we had originally planned this. My son got sick, ended up with COVID. First, it wasn't COVID. It was just, he's sick, but it wasn't the flu. And then a couple days later, I was like, something's weird. He has COVID. Then he gave COVID to my daughter. And then I got really, really, really sick. There was another podcast, another kind of live show like this that I was going to do. So sick, lost my voice. They thought I had pneumonia, put me on some heavy antibiotics. I was at least able to recover, then travel, then get home, then travel. Now I'm home and I travel again. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I'm grateful for you having me here. And I do look forward to, the live Q&A on your YouTube channel. I know some folks are going to have some burning questions. So look, I'm happy to help, do anything I can. And if I can help make sure that I empower you along the path for the future you want to create, then let's do it together.
Love it. Love it. And listen here, I said it in the text message and I'll say it again out loud, family first. So if something like that happens, it's no big. We'll always work out something in the future, and we're able to do that today. And so with that being said, y'all, go ahead and write your questions in the comment section below. What I'm going to do is I'm going to star them. I'm going to save them for the Q&A. So even if you have a question and you don't want to forget it, just go ahead and jot it down. I'll go back to it, and then we'll talk about it later during the Q&A portion, which is going to be on youtube.com/@Techniche Tips. So let's go right into it, Tom. Let's talk about your story here. Like, you started off, did you start off in sales, or is it another path that you decided to take before you got into this arena?
Gosh, well, so I love telling a story. So, people ask, Tom, how did you get into sales? I responded to a job ad that was in a newspaper. Now, I realize I might be dating myself depending on, the generation or generations that may be listening to this. But
what's a newspaper?
I was, right. I was fresh out of the military, had just finished a tour of duty, married, very young, 2 children, very young. And originally born and raised here in the Chicagoland area. That's where I'm having this conversation with you today, Joseph.
Mhm.
But wife, children at the time lived in New York, and when I was finished with the military, I had gone up there. And back in, this is like the 2002 kind of time frame. If you wanted to look for a job, you had to look in the want ads in the newspaper.
Mm.
I don't recall. I don't think there was, the Monsters and the Indeeds, and certainly not the LinkedIn at that particular time. And so really there was 3 job ads that I had responded to. The first was to be like a security guard. And of course, I'm a Marine coming out of the Marine Corps, 0331. I'm a machine gunner. I'm pretty tall dude. I'm 6'5", almost 6'6",
Mm.
about 240 pounds. And, hey, I can do that. Security is my thing, right? I was just, providing security for the United States of America. So go to that. That was like a doorman job. That
Mm.
wasn't security. That was to like hold and open the doors for folks. And
Yeah.
really the way that they kind of were trying to sell me on is like, oh, hey, like around the holidays, you get a lot of tips. Honestly, wasn't my thing. Thanked them for their time, and went to my next job interview. And the next job interview was like to be a private, like to be like a private detective, like private
Yeah.
investigator, learn how to do that. And again, went to the job interview, and it was more to like be, now I'm not going to mention names because the
Mhm.
gentleman's been in movies. He is very prominent at what he does. I don't know if he still does like the PI stuff. But really it was to be like his chauffeur.
Mm.
And again, not really my thing.
Yeah.
And thanked him for his time. And honestly, I kind of felt a little bit defeated. I think like most
Mm.
people, hey, you kind of read something about a job, and you kind of get your hopes up. You get excited. I mean, it's something new. I mean, you're putting on like your best effort. You're putting a lot of energy into it. So
Yeah.
very defeated, very deflated. And I remember taking the subway, the train, back to Brooklyn, from New York City, and again looking through the job ads, and then I see this
Yeah.
little like 6-inch ad, right? So it was like, I don't know how they used to be, Joseph. There was like 3 inches by like 6 inches. You know what I
Tiny.
mean? It was, and it literally said, "Want to make $100,000 a year or more? Call Sonny." There was the telephone number, and there wasn't much to it. And I got off the train, and I was like, "Hey, I'm going to call this number." And I call
Mm.
the 212 number, and literally very very quick conversation with Sonny. And he's like, "Hey, can you be here by this time tomorrow?" I said, "Consider it done." And I'll be there. And my wife at the time said, "Hey, that's like the financial district in Manhattan. I don't know what kind of job it is, but maybe we get you a suit." And you don't have a lot of money when you're coming out of the military. So I was like, all
Yeah.
right, so this is the first time I'm getting a suit, like suit and tie. The place was really nice. I felt like the stars kind of aligned, but the place was kind enough to like, okay, hey, we don't normally do the tailoring services till later, but we're going to do it right now. They were able to get it done. So I got a suit, got it tailored, and I went to the office. I went to go see Sonny. And again, it was in the financial district. It was a small boutique brokerage firm. And I walked in with my resume, and I had hair at the time. So I still had my high end tight. I didn't have a beard, right? Cleanly shaved. So I went in, dressed to the nines, dressed to impress, like ready to rock and roll. Sonny threw my resume in the garbage, and he goes, "I just want to talk to you.
Mm.
Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your journey." And it was really just, and the thing that took was kind of that, like that composure, and that yes sir, no sir. And he wasn't like, if I ask you to jump, tell you to jump, you say hi. It
Hi.
wasn't like that. But he was like, "Hey, look, I can change your life. Can you come in at this time? Can you do this? Like, can you listen to me? Like, this is the things." Basically, when I think back about it now, it's like, can you be coachable? Anyways, long story short,
Mm. Come on now.
Sonny hires me for $6 an hour being a cold caller. There was only 5 employees. I was the sixth, at their small boutique brokerage firm. It was Sonny and his partner, Ron. They were the principals of this small brokerage firm. We like lead lists were just printouts. I made $6 an hour. I worked from 6 in the morning until noon in New York time, and
Hmm.
then I had to go to like classes to to be able to pass the Series 7,
Mm,
the 63, stuff like that. And I basically kind of like fell into sales,
yeah.
but it was like the hustle. I don't want to like say too like, but just like that determination to persevere for my family,
Grind.
in my
Yeah.
opinion, is my definition of hustle. Everybody listening
Yeah.
here is going to have a different definition of hustle, but it
Yeah.
was do what it takes the right way to
Mm,
persevere and make sure that there's food on the table for my family. That was my
mm,
definition of hustle, but I did it for six
yeah.
dollars an hour. And let me tell you, I spent 2 months doing that. I passed my Series 7. I became a broker, and really that kind of catapulted me to becoming a managing director in 9 months. And I helped build that organization from, again, there was me as number 6 plus 5. We grew it
Yeah.
to 150 people. We had 3
Mm,
locations. My job was to like set up branches and like train and coach people to be very successful. And we raised for capital under management a lot, hundreds of millions of dollars, nearly
wow.
$1 billion. And so really, people ask me, how'd you get in sales? It's not an accident, I don't think, but
Mm,
it was. I saw an ad that said call Sonny because I was money hungry, I was young, and as fortune would have it, I had the opportunity to get into sales, and I fell in love with it. And for the last,
mm,
now it's been 22 years. Let's see, so I've been in sales since 2002, so 22 years,
yeah.
almost 23 at the end of this year. I've been in sales for all of this time. I love it,
Wow.
and I honestly couldn't imagine having any other career. For me personally, it just
Yeah.
aligns with everything. Being able to help others. I
Hmm.
love being a salesperson, but I don't sell anything to anyone. I help people buy the things that they need. I align myself as a trusted advisor. I solve problems, and really, honestly, I think maybe at its core, like its root basis, I'm helping people. And that
Yeah.
is who I am as a human being. Like my fibers of existence are helping others, giving back without the expectation return. And I get to do that every day in my sales career. And I've
Yeah.
made a career of it. This is not a job for me. It's something that I do with passion. It's something that I love to do. Sometimes maybe I love to do it too much, but it's my career. And there is no separation between Tom the person and Tom the salesperson who likes to help people. Tom in his personal life likes to help people. Tom in his business life likes to help people. So
Mm,
that's how I got into sales. I literally responded to a job ad with intention
yeah.
of, hey, I think this could be for me. I want to learn about it. And I'm so glad that I did, because here we are 22 years later.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. And you know what's so funny? Because first of all, thank you for your service. I have family members that served as
Thank you.
well, so I wanted to always acknowledge the servicemen and women that come onto the
Thank you.
show. And let me pause right now to say, listen, there was a lot there. So if you have any questions, don't forget your questions now. You might be thinking about it, you might be simmering on it. Put your questions below. I'm going to save them for the Q&A portion, and we're going to attack them or tackle them, or whichever way you're going to address them one by one as we continue having this conversation. Now, when you were saying so much great things, and I was thinking to myself, because I was like, I feel like I kind of stumbled into sales or tripped into sales for the same reasons. It's to provide for my family. And then I start to fall in love with sales, as if Cupid shot the arrow, right? And so I think that a lot of people miss that part of what you said, is that sales is really about helping someone to see if whether what we have as the offering
Yeah.
is actually going to solve a problem that they've been having. And sometimes uncovering a problem that they didn't even know they had until we bring our solution. Can we talk about the philosophy of sales there? Because I really want people not to miss that. Can we kind of dive deeper into it? Because they may be thinking about sales as a job, but when they start to see this portion of what you're about to say, they can start to see sales as more of a calling.
Yeah, and it is. And look, I want to make sure that we address the fact that there are some people, and this is
Mhm.
totally okay, where sales is just a job for them.
Yeah.
And it's a way, like a means to an end. And I think for everybody, regardless of how passionate or not you are about it. So I want to make sure that people know that it is okay if sales is just a job for you.
Mm,
I personally see it a little bit different, that when you're passionate, you make it a career, it's your craft.
mm,
You can change your life. You can create the future, like literally, like create the
yeah.
future that you want to see. So, but excuse me, I don't want to take away from the fact that there are some people, this is a job. It is not a calling or a passion for them. But they do well.
Hmm.
And that's okay too, right? But I think, to your point of, really kind of speaking to those folks where sales is a career, it's a calling, it's kind of like in my like, for me, like who I am as a person. I really think it is all about like helping others.
Yeah.
There's a great sort of kind of like dichotomy between this, is because that selflessness to like help others, to want to help solve like problems for people, like to align with them as a trusted advisor, to kind of guide them on the path to like solving the challenges, fear of loss, whatever it is,
Yeah.
also kind of benefits you as an
Mm,
individual. So think about like what we do today. Like, I work at an amazing company, House Alert. We do life-saving safety, digital alerting technology, and you know my reps that I serve make really good money helping people stay safer.
ooh, I love
Now,
that.
their
Oh,
focus
oh,
is like, how can I help you go home to your family today and every day? And the
hmm.
byproduct of that is they actually make money. Do you see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah.
their passion is around helping others, but the beautiful the outcome of doing that is they also make money for that. But they don't lead into that as like, okay, how do I sell this person so I make money? It's, how
Mm,
can I go help this person? And the byproduct means we're actually making a lot of money doing that. And it's win-win for everybody. There's
yeah.
like, everyone's happy with that. So I think that's what I love about sales, and why it's become such a career for me, is
Yeah.
that, look, I do like making money. I certainly, money is not like my definition of success. My children, their well-being, spending time with them, my family, like those are the things that for me make me rich. And then there are things like my career in
Ooh.
sales that make life comfortable,
Mm,
but certainly give me purpose to keep going, and make sure, right, that I'm taking care of and giving my family the opportunities to be better for themselves. And so again, there's all this like great positive, outcome from it. So, um, um, you know, I think for those folks, if like sales is what you want to do,
yeah.
and it's the career that you want to have, when you put the same intention and energy into it to hone your craft, be a better you, be a better problem solver,
Yeah.
the byproduct of that is you start to kind of do better for yourself and start to
Hmm.
really achieve the things on that path to the future you're trying to create for yourself.
Man, man alive. There were so many different things you said in there that I wanted to harp on. One thing you
Yeah.
said right there that shows your heart and your intention is that you said the reps that I serve. Now, there's different words you're going to use there, but the fact that you said the reps that I serve kind of shows that the mentality of being in sales, having that servant's mentality, being a servant leader, that's what separates, I believe, leaders that are pushing people forward, and really those that are saying, "Hey, come follow me. Let's do this thing together." We're gonna stop it. We're gonna definitely dive into that a little bit, but I gotta go to the
Yeah.
audience real quickly, and because I see some comments here for good morning. Tech Job Tina says, she says, thank you so much. She says, hated whatever. She said, hated what up to Mitch and Operation Tech Takeover. It's a little community here. We have a little family here, so they're
Hey,
just
everybody.
saying howdy. And Ty Smith says, good morning, everyone. I am loving this story. Yes, Ty Smith, award-winning channel sales manager, great person to connect with if you're not connected with him on LinkedIn as well. So definitely connect with him. And so, yeah, there's so much that you said. And I wanted to stop on something specifically because
Sure.
this, I think, is the world where we live in, especially in the tech industry. We try to have that balance between work and family, but then that line could somewhat be blurred, right? Like we start this conversation talking about the fact that you had to say your kids were sick and you had to drop things. How do you help your reps or even other sales professionals or professionals in general say, hey, listen, I know you're ambitious. I know you want to get after it, but family does come first. And you said something beautiful. You said, when I spend time with my family, this allows me to become rich in regards to the time that I spend with my family. Can you dive into that subject matter? I think it's very
Yeah.
helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, there's a lot of discussion in companies, on social, in our networking groups and stuff like that, where we kind of talk about like work-life balance.
Yeah.
I really do think that there's a misconception. Like, I think it's not really in my opinion, it's not
Mm-hmm.
really cut and dry, right? Some people think like, hey, I start at 9. Well, if you're going to work an 8-hour day, I start at 8, take an hour lunch, I'm done at 5. There, I've worked 8 hours. And then, hey, I go home. I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily it's that cut and dry. I think it's a matter
Mm-hmm.
of, so think of like a relationship, right? Like
Yeah.
my sales career, my family, right? There, it's like being in a relation. I'm giving 100% to the time
Mm-hmm.
that I'm dedicating, to my work, and then I'm giving 100% of
Yeah.
my time and dedication, to my family, and it's a good balance. There's sometimes I family way more than I work, which I need that, right? You need to stop at the gas station and fuel the tank. I know there's sometimes that I have to apply time to what I do, and the work that I have to do, the customers that we're serving and protecting, and certainly right, the reps that I have the pleasure of serving and stuff like that. So I think really work life, it's truly, the word is balance, but I don't think
Mm.
it's so cut and dry. So,
Yeah.
I think people need to understand that anything you do in your career, right? The company you work for, whatever the case may be, like really is sort of the means to an end to accomplishing the things that you want, the goals that you have in your personal life, your work, your job. Like that's the accelerant to help you. And so, like when I work with folks like my reps, when we're sitting down, like I like to learn a little bit about what are they trying to accomplish in their personal life. And I don't mean like they have to go like
Mm.
deep into personal. This isn't like sit on the couch like Dr. Phil kind of conversation. It's just, but I need to understand kind of their personal guiding light, because that's why they're going to work so hard. That's why we bust our
Mm.
butts at the office of what
Yeah.
we're trying to accomplish. And look, sometimes it's I need to put food on the table. I got to pay rent, my
Mm-hmm.
mortgage, like whatever it is. And for some folks, like maybe, hey, they're kind of good in that arena, but I want to get married. I want to start a family. I'm, you mentioned that your wife is expecting again, and
Yeah.
it's expanding that family. I mean, it could be the honeymoon, it could be a vacation, like whatever it is, but like that's why folks are going to work so hard. And so,
Mm.
how can I, right, for myself, what can I do that keeps me on the path to success so I can achieve my business goals, which is feeding into my personal goals? And that's how it works for
Mm.
everybody. So, look, it's good to have sort of that balance, but I don't think it's cut and dry of
Yeah.
work 8 hours, home for the rest of the time, forget about it all. I think there is a good balance that you can find. Sometimes you have to work a 12-hour day, but
Yeah.
sometimes you're going to have a 20-hour family day. That just there's a good balance, and whatever your focus and attention is, like give it 100% focus, 100% attention, and kind of like for me, Joseph, my
Yeah.
family is my why.
Yeah.
And so I infuse what I do for work, with that why and that intention and that passion and that focus,
Mm-hmm.
so that it's benefiting the family. And so, again, I think it's good to have balance, but I don't think it's so cut and dry. I think it's good to understand like what your why is. Why are you doing it from like your
Yeah.
personal aspirations? And then use your work, your career as the vehicle to help you achieve that.
I totally agree. I actually call it work-life prioritization. It's like, what are you going to prioritize within this time frame? What do you need to prioritize now? When
Agreed.
you're at work, you need to prioritize work. Okay, great. But after work, do you need to prioritize spending time with your wife or hanging out with and playing games with your kids? Like what
Yep.
is it that you need to prioritize in the moment and prioritize it and focus on that and knock it out? Listen, y'all,
Yep.
if y'all are getting value from this, go ahead, like and share this with others. Again, put your questions below because we're going to go through the gamut of things. I talked to Tom before this and he said nothing is off the limits. Basically nothing is off limits, so go ahead and write down your questions, even if it has to do something that has to do more personally with even your situation or you transitioning into whatever field you're looking to transition to. This is the conversation for that. So I would have just, first of all, your resume is as long as a novel these days. So I'm not going to go through all of the specifics there. Obviously, you've taken some time and you were able to weave out a really nice career. And we kind of
Yep.
mentioned it a little bit earlier today. You kind of talked a little bit about a job versus a career. What would you say was the driving factor that made you say, you know what, I want to have longevity in this field? These are the things that I've learned along the way to not only be successful in the different jobs that I've had, but to have a successful career.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I think early on, um, it was just this desire to make money. Now, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that that's neither good nor bad, but for me in my journey, it was here's a really great kind of industry where harder I work, harder I hustle, right? More people I contact, the more money that you can make. It was really making money. And I've done, again, early on I did very well too. But it was like there came a point I went through a really bad divorce. I lost everything. I mean, talk about like rock bottom. Got to get right for myself so I can be right for other people. And it was kind of like that. And I think I'm grateful that it happened. It wasn't a fun experience. And certainly it was sort of a fire that helped kind of harden me and shape me to kind of inspire me to get on a better path, to be better for me, to be better for my children, just be better, right, for everybody. But I'm glad that it happened because it shifted me to being more mindful of how can I help others. So taking my kind of focus on how do I make money to how do I help people, indirectly what I learned along the way of, hey, like helping these people, like one of the philosophies I live in my life is I like to help others. I like to give without the expectation of return. That
Yeah.
fills me with gratitude. And so I found really that by like kind of doing that in my career, like in my business life, I actually ended up helping a lot of people. I was making more money doing it, even though my
Mm.
focus wasn't on the making money, it was the helping others. So that's kind of like what we were just talking about. And so I
Yeah.
just I realized that that after several years, instead of like, hey, you can make a lot of money doing this, hey, you can help a lot of people. And then you start looking, and I
Hmm.
was like, oh crap, like I'm making a lot of money helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's actually not that's a really good world to live in. And the more people I helped, the better I felt about myself. It really wasn't about the results. It was really the objective of how many people can I help? How many people can I engage with so I can help them? And you'll see that. That's why, I'll do podcasts like this. This is why I do a lot of
Yeah.
mentoring, like with Girls Club. This is why, people know that, hey, they can just reach out to me and I will do my best to help when I can, because I think we're all in this together, right? I think as human beings, we're kind of in the trench together in this life. But that was the turning point for me. It was the gratitude, right? How great I felt, and thankful I felt for helping others, even if they didn't thank me. And it was a really good, like positive kind of echo chamber. More
Yeah.
people I helped, better I felt, and I was making money doing it, and my family was taken care of. And it was kind of like, you know, it was all the great things that were happening. And so that's why I said at the very beginning, I really couldn't see myself. I don't know. I couldn't even speculate. Like people ask, well, what would you be doing if you weren't like in sales, if you didn't build this career? I have no idea, none whatsoever, because
Mm-hmm.
this is just really all that I've done and known. And it's been a great path. And I think it's good for people to, really start to think about, what's, like if this is the path that you're on, if you take anything away from this, how can you infuse some of the same things maybe that I did, so
Mm-hmm.
that you start utilizing this as a tool, this industry as a tool to kind of change your life and create the future that you want.
Love it. Love it. Honestly, I do. And I thank you so much for all that you're sharing so far. Listen, y'all, we're at the halfway mark, which means we're going to transition exclusively to YouTube for the Q&A portion of this. So you see the ticker below. Go ahead to go over to youtube.com/@Techniche tips. We're going to continue this part of the conversation, but we're going to go over to the Q&A where you could ask questions. And before we do that transition, I do have one question that we're going to save the answer for until we come back. But basically that question is this: if Tom could go back to the beginning of his career, what would he change? If with all the knowledge that he has now, if he could go back and say, you know what, I want to build an amazing career, what would he have changed? All right. That's a question that we're going to answer when we get back. So go ahead and go over to youtube.com/@Techniche tips. That's youtube.com/@Techniche tips. At the end of the conclusion of the sponsorships we have from earlier was Course Careers, who helps people transition into different roles, whether it's software development, HR, the list goes on. Tech sales is included in that as well. We're going to also get commercials from Level Careers that helps people advance in their careers, and Learnful that does the same in regards to solution engineers and consultants. And so if you are definitely going to be a part of the conversation and you're on LinkedIn, come over to youtube.com/Techniche tips so that you can be part of the Q&A portion of this. Until then, hold on for these commercial breaks. We'll see you in a few, and we'll give Tom an opportunity to answer those questions. Do you feel stuck? Do you feel like you're just at the same place in your career and you don't really see a way out? This is a great time for you to take it to the next level. Level Careers is a course that I've been talking about for some time. From account executive and even sales engineering, there are courses that can help you propel from where you are now to where you want to go. Check out the link below. Use my promo code Joseph10 and check out the free courses, whether that's the SOC analyst course, the account executive course, or the sales engineer course. Take your career to the next. Hey, I didn't forget about you. You're a person that needs to be in a place where you are working close with someone else, a mentor, a friend, someone that could take you to the deeper and more intricate parts about being a sales engineer, but you don't know where to go. Learnful is a program that allows you to work with people that are high-ranking sales engineers, solution architects, solutions advisors, and they're able to not only mentor you, but teach you the ways to become a sales engineer that can be impactful for you. If you think that Learnful is for you, go ahead and click on the link below for more information. You can use my promo code Joseph150 to be able to save. Go ahead and click the link below. And now back to our show. All right, we're back. We're back with the Q&A portion of the conversation, and I'm so glad for you that have transitioned over from LinkedIn to YouTube, because we do have some questions that we want to ask Tom. And so what we're going to say is this. I'm going to start off with this first. Tom, if you could go back to the beginning of your career with the knowledge that you have now, where would you start, or would you have changed? What would you do differently now?
So I don't want to be cliche. I think about the question you just asked me a lot. No joke. Not just in my business life, but in my, like, for my personal life. If you could go back and do anything different, or, what would you change? Honestly, and again, this isn't to be cliche, probably not a damn thing. And I'll tell you why. The things that I've done, the choices that I've made, the path that I've been on, sometimes trials and tribulations, and sometimes, right, wonderful blessings.
Yeah.
All have kind of shaped me to who I am as a person today. Decisions and things in the path that I took in my personal life, wouldn't have the family I have, like that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. And again, well, I know this is more specific to like our career, our business life. I don't think I'd be the salesperson that I am today. I don't think I'd be the servant leader that I am today, if it wasn't for all of the great learning experiences. Some amazing, again, some not so great.
Mhm.
Um, and the failures that I've had, right? And really, I talk a lot about like failing forward, but all of those things made me who I am today. And again, I don't want to sound cliche. That's not what I'm trying to do, but
Yeah.
um, just everything that I've done to this point has been a great learning experience, and the things I do today have been a great learning experience for who I am going to be tomorrow, and the day after, and the
Mm.
future Tom. So nothing. I wouldn't change a damn thing.
Mm.
And I'm very proud, and happy, for what I've been able to accomplish in just this short period of time, and I'm looking forward to what the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years has.
Love it. Love it.
Of course, I don't know if I could be doing sales at 90. I'm 43 now, so 50 years I'll be 93. But if there's a will, there's a way. So uh maybe
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, I think you might surprise yourself. I mean, the way I look at it, sales is a part of life. So I'm definitely gonna be selling my grandchildren on the reason why they should be eating more green beans and more vegetables
Yep.
instead of the junk food they probably want to eat. So that's the way I kind
Sure.
of look at it, is that persuasion to do better, right?
Yep, absolutely.
So listen, family, if you have any questions, this is a great time to ask. Even if it's a burning question, don't feel shy. Just go ahead and type it in the comment section below. I'll make sure to post it up. But I'm gonna have to actually throw one that's a little bit more personal, I
Okay.
think, to the people that are watching this. You know, in some people, they're in a place in their career where they're like, man, I want to try something new. Obviously, you've been a part of sales for the almost the totality of your career, give or take things that you did here and there. What would you suggest from your experiences to help somebody get out the rut that they're in and transition to where they want to be?
So that's a really good question, right? So when we talk about transition, you mentioned you things like, hey, I'm stuck in a rut. I want to get on a path to where I want to be. I think first and foremost, we as individuals need to understand what is it? What is that path? Right? It's you know
Yeah.
a change, grass is greener, right? Type of analogy. I get it. Sometimes things can feel stale. But when I with my reps and reps that I've served along the way, um, some of the questions I ask is, and you've heard me say this when we were, on the LinkedIn Live and we were doing it here, like we talk about creating the future that you want, right? Like it could be whatever it
Yeah.
is you want. I don't think a lot of people have truly like kind of sat down and say, okay, what is it that I want? What is it that I
Mm.
want to accomplish? And so it's kind of like if you just get in your car and you drive around aimlessly, there's no like destination you're driving towards. Um, it can feel stagnant. It can get boring, because you're not, for what it's worth, aligned to a mission, an objective that you're trying to accomplish. Because if you have an objective of, I want to be here in 12 months, I want to be here in 6 months, I want to be here in 12 months, I want to be here in 2 months, you have the destination, you can actually then kind of plan out, right? The directions that you're going to take to get there in the most timely fashion. And everything you do just becomes something that you're doing to accomplish that mission, right? It doesn't worry about one foot in front of the other. It doesn't matter what the results are, because the end result, if you accomplish the mission, is kind of what you want. And so I don't think people really kind of take them a moment to, what is it I want to do? And sometimes you might
Mm.
find that you can accomplish that with your current role, and that breathes life into it, because again, Now you're operating with a sense of purpose. What
Mm.
is what I'm trying to accomplish? What is that future I'm trying to create? And break it down into kind of more manageable, simpler things, and then align all your purpose and intention behind that. Things don't seem so boring. Things
Yeah.
don't seem so kind of stuck in a rut. We have a saying here for the teams I serve. If you think you're doing something wrong, that's probably the first thing you're doing wrong, is thinking that you're doing something wrong. And then
Ah,
I usually kind of tell them and say, hey, let's go back. Are we doing the things that put us in the best position for success? And that means in their business life, if you're accomplishing that, are you on the path, right? The purposeful path to accomplishing, getting to the destination you want in your personal life. So it all kind of ties together. So I think that's the challenge for most people. No, like, you really have to sit down and put intention behind it. Like, what is it you want to accomplish? Now you can start to have purpose, because everything else you do, right? So Joseph, you're a father. I'm going to give everyone an
yep.
example. This is for you as a parent. And I realize that there are folks that don't have children, don't want children, and that's totally cool too. But like, using the analogy, if your children were hungry, there's probably no mountain you wouldn't move to
Yep.
make sure that there's food on the table. So doing the do didn't matter, right? All of the things that you did with intention and purpose and fire and intensity didn't matter. Didn't matter how hard you worked, because your purpose was making sure that your children had what they needed. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep.
Because the result, you didn't focus on the result. You just knew if you accomplish this, your kids eat. And you did whatever it takes to accomplish that mission. And that's kind of how we can translate into our business lives, right? People, the activity, they get bored, they get stagnant, they get frustrated, they focus on
Mm.
the results, they get sad, they get
Yeah.
depressed. Nobody's focusing on the mission, the objective, even in our personal lives. So that's the example I want to share. What is the mission that you need to accomplish? Sit down and figure that out. Doesn't
So
have to be monumental, but figure that out. Give yourself some direction and purpose, and you will operate to that and find that everything else just kind of falls into place.
come on, y'all. Come on. Come on, y'all. Those that are watching right now, if that just registered to you, type in mission. Because some people here are starting businesses. Some people here are in the transition period. And if you focus on the mission at hand, the purpose behind it, not necessarily the results that you may be looking to get right away, but the purpose, that would lead to the results that you want in the end. So that was very well said. I think a lot of people can take from that and run with that, honestly, including myself. So thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing that.
Look, results are a byproduct of accomplishing your objective, right?
Mm.
And as long as you're on the right path, right? You're and this is especially true in our business life. This is especially true for sales. As long as we're doing the things that put us in the best position for success, to win more, lose less, right? This also transcends into our personal life. As long as you're doing that and you're focused on the mission, the byproduct of accomplishing the mission is like literally the result. The results come. It's like when you plant a seed, a flower is a byproduct, right? You need to hoe the garden, you need to put sweat equity in, like all the activities to like make the garden ready, but the objective is to plant that seed, and the result is the flower that will come from it, right? And we get stuck in the activities of our daily lives, or the activity. Oh, it's a lot of hard work, and I get that. And we get depressed, we get frustrated, we get anxiety, we're worried because we're too focused on the result. And then you see this from time to time. If you find a lot of people that are doing well, and I don't mean externally, like, hey, they're on LinkedIn or some social platform, like, oh, I do really well. But like literally, if you
Life.
just kind of see those people that are successful, rich in life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're very mission objective oriented, and everything that they do aligns to accomplishing that mission, because they trust that the result will be the byproduct of accomplishing that particular mission. And dude, we can do this if you're an SDR, if you're an AE, if you're a sales leader. I don't give a shit. Oop, I just swore on your thing. I apologize.
I'll blur that later. It's good.
Okay, so I apologize. I don't care what it is. This applies to your business life as well as it does your personal life. So, in every sense of the word, do you know where you're going? If you don't, sit down, think about it, focus. You need to have that kind of North Star, and then you can align an action plan so that no matter what happens, you have all of your actions focused, all your intention on that. And then you'll find that you can start to understand, like, if the work, the job, the career that you currently have is not helping you to accomplish that mission, that's when you can see, okay, is it me or is it the vehicle that I'm in? Hey, maybe it's time to change that vehicle because it aligns to the mission that I have that I want to accomplish in my business life, which is fueling my personal growth. Do you see what I'm saying?
I love
Then
it.
I think it makes sense to look at that. But I think again, we don't know what that, we don't operate with that sense of purpose. And without that, how do you know the grass is even greener? Right. And that's why you see a lot of people that are flip-flopping jobs, and that's okay. Right. I get it. There are instances where wrong fit made the wrong decision. I get that.
Yeah.
But I think too often, right, we're too bit like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? We're jumping around trying to find purpose instead of like that purpose you're looking for needs to be you taking a moment and really looking internally to find that purpose. What's the direction you want to head? And then you'll find that everything you do tends to align on that.
Love it, love it. And real quickly, because I do have a question here that I want to address from Ty Smith that I was actually going to ask you something similar, but he decided to write so I definitely want to do that. But real quickly, just to kind of piggyback on this, what would you say? Because I'm thinking, and we could probably have this as a conversation, more of a question, but like I'm thinking, okay, practical steps for the person that's like you're speaking to their soul right now. I even have a little comment here from Danny Boy 23 that says this is an amazing interview, guys, and he said mission as well. Like you're speaking to people's lives right now. What are some practical steps that they could take? I'm thinking probably get a journal, start writing down what the mission is, start putting like different visuals together to kind of say, okay, this is what I really want out of life, and I need to have a job that aligns with this. Would you say that that's the path to go, or what would you say would be the path for them to kind of start thinking out or mapping that out?
So I think, yeah, and look, it doesn't have to be. So, and I think this is where people get worried, like, oh man, like, it's kind of like internal reflection and I got to do the soul searching and stuff like that. Look, it's sure if that's what you want to do, but literally it's as simple as, I'll give an example. He's an AE now, was an SDR, had been in the insurance business, and hey, time for a change. Used to make a lot of calls, very activity focused, kind of burning himself out. And now he's here. He's a very successful account executive that's here. So anyways, kind of sat down with him and said, what is it you're trying to accomplish here? And it was SDR to AE. Why do you want to accomplish that? What kind of time frames do you want to accomplish that? And so kind of understanding the big picture, because I think some people it's tough to do that, because now you're thinking about like complexity, and this isn't like plan out the rest of your life. So what I did is I basically kind of taught him to kind of break this down into, what can you do today? Right? What action plan can you have? What do you want to accomplish in the next 30 days? What do you want to accomplish? Because all these little bits and pieces, right, add up to the whole. So it can seem daunting to say, I'm going to get a journal, I'm going to start to do this. There's a whole different conversation we can have on how like our ego, I think, kind of stops some of that stuff, or maybe we don't feel worth it. And so we tend not to do that, or put in the effort, or, hey, it's not going to, like, I'm not going to get that flower, but then we end up not planting the seed. So how would you ever know? But anyways, it was just really breaking it down to, hey, what could you do over the next 30 days? What mission could you have? And can you go accomplish that? And then, everything aligns aligns to it. So it is not so much that you need to stop what you're doing and have some big like existential, like internal conversation with yourself. If that's for you, so be it. All good. Not going to judge, but you don't need to do that. If it's simple, like you want some business advice, don't know what's going on, you're frustrated, you feel like you're stuck in a rut, stop. What is your mission for the next 30 days? Think about it like this. You're a salesperson. What's your quota for the end of March? Okay. And if you're an account executive, if you're an SDR, how many, like, what's your quota for like booked or qualified sits or, whatever the case may be? Okay. Awesome. That's what all you need to focus on for the next 30 days. You want to make it simple for yourself? You can literally break that down into how many dials do I need to make to have how many conversations? Because if I have this many conversations, I'm going to end up booking this many meetings. And if I book this many meetings, this many is going to sit. And but you could literally like reverse engineer it. And so for Logan, who's the example I was giving you, he did really, really well. And then kind of got into that, okay, what am I doing wrong? And like literally just the other day, I kind of sat him down and I said, look, stop thinking about this. Let's make it easy. What is it you want to accomplish in the next 30 days? His quota. How do you hit that quota? Here's what your average deal value is, right? Your ARR on average per deal that you do. Here's how many, like, here's your win rate on the deals that are created. Yeah. And like literally, I just broke it down, and I don't have my phone on me. He just texted me. He goes, mind blowing on how when he just kind of put his focus on what the objective is, how things started to change, right? And so it's look, I think people are worried that it's daunting to start thinking about this stuff. It's not. Like, keep it simple. In the Marine Corps, we used to say, the KISS system, everybody knows.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I prefer the KISS system in our business. Like, just keep it super simple. Keep it simple. And it's right. If some of others have heard my podcast before, if life is a marathon, right? The end is way, way, way down there, and that can seem daunting, but really, right? You're running 1 mile at a time. Your activity, your action is to put one foot in front of the other and just focus on what you're focusing on now, 1 mile at a time. Before you know it, you have ran a marathon. The byproduct is you completed the race. The action that you had to take anyway was your left foot in front of your right foot, but your objective was just right here in front of you, and you broke it down into its most simplest like you broke a complex thing down into very simple accomplishing things. This isn't rocket science. You can do this in your business life, you can do it in your personal life. Don't think it's daunting. Just keep it simple. Give yourself some purpose and direction. Things will start to change, believe me.
Love it. And the comment section is agreeing as well. Operation Tech Takeover says, Tom, mind blown. You are speaking so much insight. This is an aha moment type of convo. Thank you guys for this. Joseph, you keep one-upping yourself with my guest, my brother. Thank you so much for that. Operation Tech Takeover.
Joseph, if I can mention, I don't think so. Danny Boy asked this question. I love this. Danny Boy, I have a 16-year-old daughter as well. And of course, she's 16. Can't wait till I'm 18, and the world is my oyster, and I'm gonna do all of these things, and hey, so be it. I'm gonna get my own apartment. I'm gonna have all this stuff. And now she's starting to realize with like her paychecks, she's like, wait, how does that work? Like, I worked all this time. And so anyways, here's the thing, Danny Boy, and I'm not saying this is great advice. I'm not saying it's bad advice. Let your 16-year-old be a 16-year-old. Don't worry about that. Right? I didn't know what I wanted to do for a career when I was 16. I was just worried at 16 years old if I had enough money from my paycheck to put in my gas tank so I could hang out with my friends. Don't put that, in my opinion, don't put that pressure on your 16-year-old. I think the things that we're doing as parents, think Karate Kid, right? Wax on, wax off. I think the fundamental life lessons and experiences that our children can have now create a foundation for when they are finally adults and starting a career. So just I think, Danny boy, the best suggestion I could give you is help make sure that your 16-year-old is the best version of themselves. Let them be a 16-year-old. Let them be a teenager. Let them experience life. Create that foundation for them, and you would be surprised on what they carry forward, right, for themselves when it's time for them to pursue a career. But look, we're 16. Work at the bowling alley. Work at the fast food joint. Just get that foundational stuff just work, so you start to kind of build those habits of kind of that work ethic that will be foundational. But they're 16. Let them be a 16-year-old. Make them earn stuff, right? Because they're at that point. But just let them be a 16-year-old, and let them, and you be the great parent that you are, and build that foundational life skills that they'll carry with them when they're ready to start a career. Do I want to do?
Yeah,
And look, if they go to college, they might change the career they want anyways 19 times before they actually graduate. So foundational stuff, help them be a great version of a human being that they can be. That is my advice for what we do with our children.
Yeah, that's good advice. Our 16-year-old is Jersey Mike, so that's his place where he's building his work ethic. But it's true. What are the foundational things that they can learn? Can they do laundry? Can they fold clothes? Can they little things, right? And on top of them, just kind of hanging out with their friends and having a good time. So for those that are on the podcast, the question was, my 16-year-old who isn't sure what career she would pursue, any advice you can offer? That was a question that Tom was responding to. So thank you so much for that, Tom. You beat me to it. And then I think we're going to close off with this last question, unless anybody else has a question. This is from Ty Smith. He says, as we approach 2030, what changes, pros or cons, do you foresee in the future of the sales industry?
So, Ty, that's a great question. I do not have a crystal ball, so I could be completely wrong. But one thing I can tell you that I can guarantee is going to happen is that changes will happen, right? And again, I understand that might sound a little bit cliche, but change is inevitable in this business, okay? What I have found, and what everyone defines success, what I define as successful salespeople have done, is they've honed their craft. They have honed themselves on their personal skill sets as well as their business skill sets. Sometimes they're one and the same. They have honed their craft, and they have infused it with intention. They have infused it with passion. They have infused it with the want for me to help others. So I know AI is big, Joseph. We were talking about that from the company that you work at. Look, I got into this business in 2002. Our idea of a cadence software is a 3x5 index card in a recipe box that had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So where are we?
Bring it back to time.
Right? I was printing lead lists. I was dialing with my finger on a corded phone. Where are we at today? It's always going to change, but you can make yourself kind of bulletproof to the ups and downs by honing your craft and finding kind of what is it you want to accomplish, and then doing all of those things to do that. Sales is never going to go away. People have problems all the time. New problems continue to pop up. New companies are going to be created to solve those problems. Companies that are here today are going to go away because they're not relevant anymore. And so people will never stop wanting a trusted advisor who is aligned to helping them solve the problems that they have or prevent the losses that they're worried that are going to happen. That is never going to change. That is always going to be the thing. And so change in this industry will be inevitable. So as you approach 2030, just get right with yourself, focus on yourself, hone your craft, be a better you. And that will mean that you can navigate the inevitable change that's going to come up in the future. and it doesn't matter, right? I find if you hone your craft, you become a great salesperson, and I'm not afraid to use that word. It won't matter what the product or service is. It won't matter what the industry has changed to, because you will be the best version of yourself. And that means that you will be a great salesperson. You'll be able to, you'll help more people buy the things that they need to solve their problems. You'll be considered more of a trusted advisor, and you'll accomplish wildly great things in your business life, which I honestly believe wholeheartedly will ensure that you wildly have success in your personal life and create that future you want for yourself and your family.
Great. That's great advice. And I definitely want to thank you, Ty. Thank you, Danny Boy. Thank you for everybody that's participating in this conversation that we're having. In fact, Danny Boy did reply, thank you. Thank you to the information that you provided earlier. And Operation Tech Takeover says, and Ty Smith, congrats on starting your entrepreneur journey starting today. That's right. Ty is building out a whole new thing over there in the channel sales world. And so it's always great to have all these different friends of the show on at the same time. So thank y'all all for what you said. There's a lot that was said. There was a lot that was said, but I would remind everybody to go back and listen and ask yourself, does this align with the mission that I'm on? We talked about today to build a career, and that mission statement, if you could find that mission statement, and again, keep it simple, right? KISS.
Yep.
If you could find that mission statement, keep it simple. And the last thing that was actually said, even before what I just said, was that if you continue to hone in on your skill, your craft, you're going to be in a very great place. You're going to be in a great place. Tom, before we go, is there any final words you wanted to share with the audience?
No, I appreciate the opportunity. I hope that for those who are listening, who have watched, who go back and listen, I hope that there is some nuggets of value in there for you. I hope you keep being a better you today than, a better version of you today than you were the day before. I hope you keep that up. I hope you accomplish everything it is that you want to accomplish in your lifetime for yourself and for your family. If I can ever help, a proverbial door is open. Again, we're all in this together. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being you and being the best version of you. It helps me and inspires me to be the best version of me. And we're all in this together. And, it's okay to help others without the expectation of return. Infuse that into your sales craft, and happy selling, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Happy selling indeed. And before I let you go, they could contact you via LinkedIn, right? The LinkedIn is in my description. So go ahead and
LinkedIn, Thomas Parbs, THOMAS, last name PARBS. Go ahead and send me a connection request. Happy to connect there. Again, feel free to message me on LinkedIn as well. I do want to be clear, I'm not always on LinkedIn. So you saw that. Remember, when we were connecting on this, it's like, here's my cell phone number, Joseph. You need to text me, because if you put it on LinkedIn, I might not see it for 2 or 3 days. Look, I'm all about focus and tension. I'm working.
Yeah.
I'm not watching cat videos on social media. I joke. That's a whole different conversation we can have. The things that aren't aligned to me accomplishing my mission are usually off to the side until I have some downtime. So that's why if you reach out to me on LinkedIn and it's 3 days before I respond, it's just because literally I've got a mission in life and I'm focusing on the things that keep me aligned to that mission, so I generate success. Then I end up getting to some of that stuff. So if there's a delay, I'll probably accept it, chat you back, but please reach out. Again, if I can help in any way, I'm happy to do so. And I mean that. And there's a lot of folks that have known me, through the years that know that that's a very true statement. If I can help, I'll be happy to do so.
It aligns with your mission of helping people.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. So Operation Tech Takeover says this is going to have to be watched multiple times with the notebook. And Ty Smith says, thanks. Great advice. Great episode. So I believe what you said earlier about them finding value in this conversation, I believe that mission was accomplished. No pun intended. But
Awesome.
but thank you
Pun
so much.
very well intended.
Well, I guess you can say that. Yes, that's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. And like I always say, I hope to see you on the other side. Take care, family. Have a great weekend.